my sweet summer children. I'm back with some juice to get you through the long nights. And the night is long. So I've been talking about character parallels for a while now and about history repeating. If you didn't see my first video on history repeating, then I highly recommend that you watch that video. So, we have seen characters from history manifesting into characters that are in the current story. We have also seen events from the past happen again. These glimpses from the past in present characters and in the present events can give us clues into what's in store for certain characters. One of the most obvious character parallels, in my opinion, is Tyrion Lannister and Lan the Clever. If you figured this out before Season 7, then you knew what was in store for Tyrion in Season 7. Lan the Clever was the first Lannister of Casterly Rock. He was a clever, golden-headed shit that swindled Casterly Rock from the Casterlys with just his wits. In the most common version of the tale, Lan discovered a secret way inside the rock, a cleft so narrow that he had to strip off his clothes and coat himself with butter in order to squeeze through. In Season 7, Tyrion devises a plan to take Casterly Rock. How does he do it? He devises a plan to sneak in a tiny cleft in the rock. There is also the parallels between Robb Stark and Daeron. Robb Stark was the young wolf, Daeron the young dragon. They were both crowned at a young age, and they were both skilled warriors, never losing a battle. They ironically died not in battle, but in acts of treachery. The young wolf died at the Red Wedding after he apologized to Walder Frey and ate his salt and bread, and the young dragon was the first Targaryen to conquer Dorne. However, much like Robb Stark, the young wolf, the young dragon was assassinated in Dorne while treating under a peace banner. There is also the parallels between Sir Duncan the Tall and Brienne. First, fun fact, Sir Duncan the Tall and Brienne are related. That was confirmed by George R.R. Martin. However, they parallel. They are both dumb tall. Dunk eventually becomes Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Brienne was in Renly's Kingsguard. Dunk travels Westeros with a squire Egg, and Brienne travels throughout Westeros with a squire Pod. Also, we've met a lot of dishonorable knights, and Brienne and Dunk are not one of them. They are both true knights who take their vows seriously. Also, Dunk is always saying he's dunked the lunk as thick as a castle wall. And just so happens, Jaime asked Brienne this. She wrapped her nakedness in a towel. Do you mock me? That pricked him back to anger. Are you thick as a castle wall? That was an apology. I'm legit just scratching the surface here. There are so many parallels, and I'm working on a video with all of them, but there's also events that parallel each other, like Daenerys' conquest of Westeros was almost a mirror of Aegon's conquest, even down to the king who knelt, Torrhen Stark, Jon Snow. Daenerys obliterating the slavers of Slavers Bay echoed what the Valyrians did to the Giscari Empire. History repeats. But does history repeat, or does it rhyme? In the story, we have a quote. Archmaester Rigney once wrote that history is a wheel, for the nature of man is fundamentally unchanging. What has happened before will perforce happen again, he said. So, we can draw from different characters and look to see what might happen in the story proper and what might happen in Season 8. This character parallel I'm about to tell you is insane. I've talked about it on Twitter a little bit, but you have to see the evidence for this before you just write it off. So we have established that history repeats or rhymes, but there are three characters that I want to talk about, and that's Jon, Arya, and Sansa. If you look back in the history of Game of Thrones, can you think of anyone that parallels Jon, Arya, and Sansa? I can. Visenya, Rhaenys, and Aegon, the three-headed dragon of House Targaryen. Pause. I'm not proposing that Jon is going to marry his sisters, cousins, or anything like that. Let me explain this. So Jon is a Targaryen and his name is Aegon. The two girls that Aegon believes are his sisters are Arya and Sansa. I'm going to show you the parallels first, and then I'm going to show you what I think it means. So let's start with Arya. Visenya, eldest of the three siblings, was as much a warrior as Aegon himself. as comfortable in ringmail as in silk. She carried the Valyrian longsword, Dark Sister, and was skilled in its use, having trained beside her brother since childhood. Though possessed of the silver gold hair and purple eyes of Valyria, hers was a harsh, austere beauty. Even those who loved her best found Visenya stern, serious, unforgiving, and some said that she played with poisons and dabbled in dark sorceries. So let's break that down and compare it to Arya. So Arya is a girl that's skilled with the sword. She's comfortable in armor, a beauty considered to be harsh and austere. Arya is also stern, serious, and unforgiving. She keeps a list of names of people that she wants to kill. She also has played in poisons. She's learned all about them, and in the show, she's even used them and wiped out House Frey. That is something that Visenya Targaryen would approve. And Arya has also dabbled in the dark arts. The Faceless Assassins are definitely using dark magic and possibly some skin changing to do everything that they do. In the show, Arya receives the cat's paw dagger from Bran, but in the books, I think she will 100% receive Dark Sister from Bran. Dark Sister was last owned by Bloodraven, and Bran is with Bloodraven. They're gonna be fighting White Walkers. Valyrian steel kills White Walkers, so a sword of Valyrian steel can't just be left in a cave and forgotten. Now let's compare Sansa to Rhaenys. Rhaenys, youngest of the three Targaryens, was all her sister was not. Playful, curious, impulsive, given to flights of fancy. No true warrior. Rhaenys loved music, dancing, and poetry, and supported many a singer, mummer, and puppeteer. The first line that jumps out is that Rhaenys was everything that her sister was not. Rhaenys was everything that Visenya was not, and Sansa is everything that Arya is not. Sansa could sew and dance and sing. She wrote poetry. She knew how to dress. She played the high harp and the bells. Worse, she was beautiful. We also see throughout the story that Sansa is given to flights of fancy, and she loves music and dancing and poetry and singers. Now Aegon, this is where it starts to get interesting. It is confusing because there's a lot of Aegon's conquest in Daenerys, but there is a lot of Aegon in Jon, or Aegon. Not just Aegon's conquest, but actually Aegon's characteristics. Aegon Targaryen himself, strangely, was much as an enigma to his contemporaries as to us. Armed with the Valyrian steel blade Blackfire, he was counted among the greatest warriors of his age, yet he took no pleasure in feats of arms and never rode in tourney or melee. His mount was Balerion the Black Dread, but he flew only to battle or to travel swiftly across land and sea. His commanding presence drew men to his banners, yet he had no close friends, save Orys Baratheon, the companion of his youth. Women were drawn to him, but Aegon remained ever faithful to his sisters. As king, he put great trust in his small council and his sisters, leaving much of the day-to-day governance of the realm to them, yet did not hesitate to take command when he found it necessary. Though he dealt harshly with rebels and traitors, he was open-handed with former foes who bent the knee. Jon matches all of that. Jon would be considered an enigma. He's also one of the greatest, if not the greatest, warriors in the story right now. He also wields a Valyrian steel sword. And even though Jon is the great warrior that he is, he takes no pleasure in killing people. He takes no pleasure in war, much like Aegon. Jon also never rode in tourneys or participated in melees, and he never would because he takes no joy in it. Much like Aegon, Jon draws men to his banners, he gets the wildling, he regains the support of the North, he becomes the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. His presence is commanding. Aegon has no close friends save for childhood companion Orys Baratheon, which is rumored to be his bastard brother. So Jon does have friends, his brothers in the Night's Watch, but he also has one very close friend, and that's Sam. Men were drawn to Aegon, women are drawn to Jon. Beautiful women too. Ygritte, Val, the wildling princess, she's not on the show, Melisandre, and Daenerys. So Aegon trusted his sisters, leaving the governance to the realm in their hands. What does Jon do in season 7? He leaves Winterfell in Sansa's hands, and when Arya and Bran come back, they are right beside her ruling Winterfell. Aegon dealt harshly with traitors and rebels. So does Jon. He hung his brothers of the Night's Watch after they killed him. He dealt with Ramsay Bolton. But, like Aegon, he was open-handed with former foes who bent the knee. When everyone told Jon to strip the Umbers and the Karstarks of their castle, he didn't. They bent the knee and pledged fealty, and he was forgiving and open-handed with them, letting them keep their family homes. There is also the Kill the Boy speech from the Maester Aemon, where he tells Jon to kill the boy and let the man be born. He tells him about his brother, Aegon V. Egg had an innocence to him, a sweetness we all loved. Kill the boy within you, I told him the day I took ship for the wall. It takes a man to rule, an Aegon, not an egg. Kill the boy and let the man be born. The old man felt Jon's face. You are half the age that Egg was, and your own burden is a crueler one, I fear. You will have little joy at your command, but I think you have the strength in you to do the things that must be done. Kill the boy, Jon Snow. Winter is almost upon us. Kill the boy and let the man be born. The biggest difference between Visenya, Rhaenys, and Aegon and Jon and Arya and Sansa is dragons. Visenya, Rhaenys, and Aegon had dragons, and Jon, Sansa, and Arya don't. But they have direwolves. At least 2 of them do. Which will make sense in a minute. So now that we have noticed the parallels Jon, Arya, and Sansa have with Visenya, Rhaenys, and Aegon, what could that mean? There are a few things it could mean. Firstly, I think it was yet another clue that R plus L equals J, and then there are other things as well. Of course, it could mean that Sansa and Arya are going to help Jon conquer Westeros. Sansa has already helped Jon take back the North. It could mean they're going to share the rule of Winterfell of the North, or it could be an outline, a map of sorts. Aegon died of a stroke at 62, surrounded by grandchildren. Visenya dies years after him from some weird sickness, but Rhaenys died in Dorne with her dragon way before Visenya and Aegon. The Dornish pierced her dragon's eye with a scorpion, and the 2 years that followed her death were fire and blood, referred to as the years of the dragon's wrath. Basically, Aegon and Visenya set almost every castle, keep, and holdfast in Dorne on fire. Also, the Sept of Remembrance, which is now the Dragon Pit, was built in her memory. I know a few of you are like, well, damn if Grey didn't find another way to kill Sansa. I mean, I kind of did, but I wasn't looking for it. She doesn't actually have to complete Rhaenys' story. Like, maybe she doesn't die because the story doesn't go that far. But Sansa is the only Stark without her direwolf. Rhaenys was the only one of the Targaryens that lost her dragon. Vhagar and Balerion both outlived their owners. So Ghost and Nymeria could outlive Jon and Arya. Meraxes was shot, and either Rhaenys fell from the saddle or the dragon landed on top of her, killing her. If Sansa was to die, Arya and Jon would be grief-stricken, and they would just go to war and just kill anybody responsible, and then possibly build a Sept of Remembrance in honor of their sister. But like I said, it doesn't have to go that far. It depends on how far the story takes it. I think it could just represent Arya and Sansa helping Jon not only with the Long Night, but taking control of Westeros, and also helping him with the governance of the realm. I also think that the fourth wheel in this equation is Daenerys and Jon together making the complete Aegon, but that's a tale for another day. So what do you think? Are Sansa, Arya, and Jon character parallels to Visenya, Rhaenys, and Aegon? And if so, what does it mean? As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports me on Patreon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.